Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. So we're setting up over here on the Genie Shaper to begin the next cut that we need to make on the dynamic jaw, and that is going to be the front side of it there that needs to be cut. So in the previous video that we just showed, we were over on the Kearney and Trecker mill getting everything milled in, and I had mentioned then that I would like to go back to the Shaper to do a little bit more cutting on this piece. And the reason why is not only do I enjoy doing it, we have a lot of viewers of the channel who really enjoy seeing the old machines operate, and a lot of them really love seeing the Genie Shaper operate and be shown doing these projects on the channel. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to come back over here and finish that out over on the Shaper to kind of give you a little bit more of that Shaper footage that some people are asking for. We certainly could have set that back up on the K&T mill, used an end mill or a face mill to get that done, but this is a little bit more fun. It's just a fun way to operate it. We're going to be able to utilize our automatic down feed on the tool head there. So we'll bring you in, we'll show you what we're going to do, and get started on this job. All right, so in the previous video, we had mentioned this face right here that needs to be machined, and we had also talked about this back end again, and it's still in this as cast form right there, and I had said that I'd like to maybe cut this side there as well. Now the problem with that, there's not really a problem, but I have measured the total length of this end to end, and based off the specification on the print, the casting is already just shy of what that dimension is on the print. So there's really no need to cut this back end back there, but we certainly could if we want to clean it up, because this face back here serves no purpose other than just being part of the structure, part of the body there. This is up inside of the hardtail part of the vise. You never see it. There's nothing mounted on this. It just covers the screw and just provides structural integrity. So we may visit this and just clean this up for fun and make a nice little Shaper pattern just like that right there on the end of it. All right, so this is the face we're going to focus on. And we do have a specification that goes from this edge here to this face being 4.8 inches. We do have the print here so I can show you guys what we're talking about. You see we have a 28.577 overall length. It's just shy of that already. But then you have a dimension right here of 4.8 inches. That's the one that we're going to focus on right now. And I did some just scale measurements. This is still a cast surface with a crown on it, but I did put a straight edge up there and it measured right at 4 7/8. So we have, I don't know, maybe about a 1/16 that we could take off of that to bring it to the specification here. So that's what we're going to work on now. I've already got the tool head set up. We're going to put this tool in there to use. It's a nice big radius tool. I've already re-honed it so it's nice and sharp, and we'll put that in there like so. And then we're going to utilize our automatic down feed feature on the Shaper right here. Okay, a lot of people love seeing this operate, and it's just a fun way to use the Shaper. We have the tool head set and indicated at a perfect 90-degree vertical cut there. So once we get touched off and get this set, we can make this cut down right there, and it'll be a perfectly straight cut. That's going to be 90 degrees to the back side there. I did want to go ahead and indicate this vise to make sure that we're set at 0 degrees or that we're trammed perfectly across here. So we got a test indicator set up. It's touching that vise jaw, and I've got it adjusted, so we'll show you. I think I had it within a 0.5 thousandths, which is more than good enough for what we're doing here. That's a good amount of travel, and that is on 0. So we'll go ahead and finish tightening our vise. That is good to go. I'm ready to get this tool touched off here. I want to mention that I've made sure that we had enough clearance once we feed down here vertically that the ram is not going to crash into the casting there. So everything should be good to go. We're just ready to touch off. I'm going to hand crank the workpiece over to the tool. There we go. There's a touch off. It's actually touching on both ends right there. And bring the tool all the way up. sure that we're clearing. Looks pretty good right there. All right, now we need to set our cam plate for our auto down feed. Move that crank handle out of the way. That's on 0. So what I like to do is go ahead and take the ram all the way back. And what I did this time, I gave myself a little bit more run out room on the way back. So as this comes up on the cam plate, it's clearing the workpiece and it's engaging it, feeding it down before it comes back in for the next cut. So I'm gonna go ahead and just make sure that the ram is all the way in the back position there. All right, so that's the furthest point back. We'll just take our cam plate and slide it up. That point right there. And so we've got a tapped hole there. We'll put the lock bolt in. Lock it in place. And we should be good to go. So I'm going to use this mag back indicator right here to measure out my movement there. Now I know you guys probably can't see that. It might be a little hard for you to see. I've got our indicator set to 0. So I'm going to go ahead and pull it to me. Let's trying to decide on a cut. How about 25 thousandths? 10, 20, 25 right there. Okay. Make sure my tool's still clearing. All right, we're good to go. Let's go ahead and start our cuts. I'll bring that tool down just a little bit closer. And we got to come off so I can set the down feed here. I'm going to set it to 8 thousandths. And let's see what that looks like. So when I engage the clutch, it should start feeding and cutting. Stand here with my hand on the clutch just in case something happens. There we go. Touch a little bit there. I'm going to stop the feed. Let's go back out. You can't be all the way up on that cam plate and bring it back up, so you got to bring your cut out here. Let's go ahead and bring the tool head back up. All right. Well, it looks pretty good to me. We just got to make a couple more cuts and get it all cleaned up. Okay, so we've stepped it over another 25. Let's cut it again. I'm going to use 16 thousandths down feed on this, 16 thousandths per stroke. So we still have a little bit to clean this face up, so we are going to make another cut, but I'm just using our scales right here, our rulers, to get a measurement. So I'm taking this guy, the 12-inch rule, and just pushing it against our face there. About like that. And then we've got a hook rule right here. And come out here and just square it up on the edge of that hook rule. And it's showing just over 4 3/4. So I'm going to flip this over, and I'm looking at the 64th side of the rule, squaring it up, and just by visual sight I can tell that we have just over a 64th of an inch to take if we was to bring it to 4 3/4, which is what I'm going to shoot for. So I think what I want to do is just take another 20 thousandths on that dial and make another pass, and that should clean that up, and we'll just leave it right where it's at. This is not a critical dimension. We're just wanting to clean it up, make it look good. Whenever the meatball and everything's right there, it'll just have a nice look to it once it's all cleaned up. So what do you guys think about that? I personally think it turned out pretty good. The finish using the auto downfeed is never quite on the same level as not using the downfeed. I'm not quite sure why that is, but I'm sure I could improve it with better tooling. But that tool's doing a good job right there. I'm gonna take and using our precision flat stones here, give it a little buff with the stone. It feels really nice though, nice and smooth. You can see some higher marks right there. I think it turned out pretty good. All right. So this face is technically finished up. We're all good to go. I'm happy with it. It looks good. It's got a really smooth feel to it. Polishing it with that stone really helped. So I decided that on this other side here that I am going to go ahead and cut it. We're going to do the same thing. What I'd like to do is go ahead and just flip this over the other way, because I like being able to do these cuts over here on the operator side of the machine, because you can see what's happening. I also have a lot better lighting right here. I've got the door open today because the weather's been really nice and cool, so we're getting a little bit of light in here from that. So it makes the videos look a little bit better too. So I'm gonna get this reoriented here, get it clamped up, bring you guys back, and we'll repeat this kind of cutting action on the opposite side and just clean it up. That's all we're gonna do, is just clean it up square. All right, so we have our jaw flipped around. I actually have the tool already touched off. We've dialed in 40 thousandths, and I'm hoping that's actually gonna clean it all up. And if that cleans all that up, I'll make a light pass just to make a finish cut across there. The other reason why I decided I'm going to go ahead and cut this, I think I forgot to mention that in the previous clip, is I would like to have this end right here as a machined reference surface in case I need it. Whenever I'm setting this up, I think having this machined area out there would be good. For example, when we go to the CNC mill, I've got to write out a program that's going to be this dimension here and come down to this angle whenever we're doing our face milling there. So actually having some dimensions to work off of a machine face right there is the reason why I decided to go ahead and do that. So we're just going to clean it up. We don't have a dimension that will go on, but once we get it cut straight, I'll pull out my big vernier calipers and we'll get a measurement just to see where we landed on. So all I had to do is just reposition the ram a little bit, but it is ready to go. A little bit heavier in the middle of the cut there. That could be a little bit harder spot in the cast too. Maybe it had a little chill in it that they didn't get completely out. Looks like we run out of cut there. Like it's not going to cut anymore. Taper's off. I'm going to stop and reset it. Okay, second pass, here we go. So that was our second cut there. You can see down here at the bottom, it didn't quite clean it up. There's a few little hollow spots still in there. So I'm going to take another 0.10 cut. I'm going to slow the feed rate down. I'm going to consider this my finished pass. And if it doesn't get all that, I'm not really going to be worried about it, because there is plenty of area that you can square up to or indicate on if needed. So I'm just going to take a finished cut, and then that'll finish that out there. All right, guys, I think we have got a touchdown on our vertical shaping today. This last cleanup pass looks good. So I ended up, from touch off, we ended up taking a total of 70 thousandths off of this. As I mentioned, no critical dimension. We were just taking enough to clean it up. So I would like to rub the stones on it, see how the finish kind of turned out. And again, this will give us a reference surface if we need to use it whenever we're setting it up for our finished machining. Try not to hit the end of it on the tool there. I'll polish on it a little bit more. Addresses those high spots down. All right, it's got a good feel to it. Feels nice and smooth. We'll come in here with our file and get rid of that sharp edge on the inside there too. Get rid of that sharp edge so it doesn't dig into my hand whenever I go to pick it up. All right, there we go. This operation is done. It has been a while since I have brought these out and shared them with you on the channel. These were my dad's Starrett vernier calipers, 36 inch, number 123. And my favorite thing about this tool right here is the distinctive smell that comes out of this box. It just really has a very distinctive smell from the wood. And I know that might be a little bit weird to say that, but that's what you notice as soon as you open up, is that fragrance from the wood and everything in there. But these are some beautiful calipers that my dad and I have used countless times. I mean, I couldn't tell you how many times I've used these in my 25 years doing machine work. So they obviously bought them from someone. It had someone's name or maybe initials engraved on there. That has always looked like that. A lot of these tools that ended up in our shop was purchased by my granddad at the Navy surplus sales. Apparently they used to have several Navy surplus sales, and I think back in the 70s, maybe even early 80s, but I think this was mostly in the 70s. My granddad attended these sales, and that is how he tooled up our shop. A lot of the old school stuff that we've had around here forever, cutting tools, measuring tools, and things like that, was surplus tools that he was able to purchase and put in the shop and help my dad, you know, get our business going. So I'm sure that's where these came from right here, but I don't know. I never thought to ask Dad if these came from Navy surplus. They may not have, because usually the Navy stuff has some kind of number, you know, written on the box somewhere. So these could have been owned by a private individual that my granddad bought them from. I'm not really sure. But we'll go over there to the jaw and just take a measurement with it, because I'd like to see where we landed on. All right, let's get in here and see if we can get us a measurement using our vernier calipers. So on the fixed jaw end down here on my left hand is, I like to take my left hand, one of my fingers, and I kind of hold that underneath the fixed jaw to try to keep that jaw in the same position, because you need to get it, you know, you got to get it level and parallel. So usually you try to keep that jaw in the same position. All right, so we'll get it to where it feels pretty good, right about there. And we'll go ahead and slide this jaw up real close, and we'll go ahead and lock this thumb screw up in the top there. I got to get it to where I can comfortably do this. So I'm making sure I'm not blocking the camera here. All right, go ahead and start running that up, and you're wanting to rock it back and forth and up and down until you get the play out of it. You don't want to bind it up. You just want it to touch, and you can tell once you get there with a little bit of practice, you can tell that you're in the center and that you got a good measurement right there. So that feels pretty good. We're going to pull it up nice and gentle. Now it's time to read it. So what we got? So make sure you're reading the outside, because that's the measurement that we're taking, is the outside. If you're using this on an inside bore, you'd be reading the top there where it says inside. So we're at 28 inches, 300 thousandths, and it's not quite to the 50 thousandths line. So I'm going to direct read on the bottom right here. So let's see which one's lined up the best. It looks like it's going to be, I'm going to call 45. So what I got there is 28 inches, 345 thousandths. And that is what our total length is from end to end, 28, 345. All right, guys, I think that is going to wrap up this video using our genie shaper with our vertical down feed action on both ends of the dynamic jaw right there. I'm real happy with the way they turned out. We've got good finishes there on both sides, and it looks great. So we're not quite through with the dynamic jaw yet. We still have a few more things that we got to do. As mentioned before, we're going to go into our CNC mill to finish milling out this section right there on both sides. We've got to do that. We still have to set it up in a machine. I'm not sure where we're going to go yet. We may use the Kearney and Trekker, but I haven't decided yet where we're going to go. We got to drill and tap our 2 holes there for the 1/2-13 holes so that we can bolt the jaw on. So we got to get that done. And the hole down here on the end that the spindle goes through, I've got to do some checking on this to see if this gets machined. I'm pretty sure that it does, but I don't have a spec on the print, so I got to get with Fireball Tools and find out about, is that a specific bore size that we got to put into that. So we may be setting it up in the mill again and boring that in right there. But I've been having fun with this project. I've really been enjoying using our old school G&E shaper, our Kearney and Trekker mill, and all of our machines to get this job done. It's a fun project for me. It's a fun project for the channel. And I know a lot of you guys are watching this because you've been enjoying watching all these different processes there as well. My hopes is that I always kind of have something that you can take away from the video, some kind of tip or trick there that you can use in your own shop, and help you guys that are out there trying to learn the trades. I'm always trying to be as helpful as I can with all these videos and show you some of the things that I have learned how to do in the shop there as well as we get all this machine work completed. So be sure to check back. We're going to have plenty more videos. We still have a lot of machine work to do. We do have the main body that we still have to set up in the shaper here so we can do the internal shaping that's going to match this part right there. So once we get this finished up there, we may go on to the main vise body. We'll get it set up here on the shaper table and see about getting that knocked out there as well. All right, so until then, we will see you on the next job.